This is Angelo Pizzullo, manager of the Oral History Program with the Battleship New Jersey in Camden, New Jersey. Today is Friday, August 3rd, 2018. We're on board the Battleship New Jersey, and our interview guest is Tom Teeken from Harrison, Ohio. Mr. Teeken was a machinist mate during the late 1980s on the Battleship New Jersey, and that includes the Pacific Exercise or PAC-X of 89-90. Welcome home, Mr. Teeken.
Teeken.
Teeken. Sorry.
Thank you.
All right. What is your current age?
50.
And when did you enlist?
July 8th, 1986.
All right. And how old were you when you joined the Navy?
18.
All right. And what was your inspiration for joining the Navy?
Well, all the men in my family were in the military, and my two brothers were in the Air Force. My dad and my uncle was in the Marine Corps. And I wanted to join the military, but I didn't want to follow in there. I wanted to be on my different. So I didn't really want to go in the Army. And I wanted to see other places, see other countries. So I joined the Navy.
Okay. Now, the process of going into the Navy, from recruiter to leaving for boot camp, what was that like? What did you have to go through?
Well, we did a lot of PT.
I'm sorry, before you got to boot camp.
Yeah.
Getting the recruiter.
Yeah, we met with the recruiter. I had to meet with the recruiter twice a week. And we did a lot of pre-basic training, PT.
I'm sorry, I understand.
Yeah. And just basically getting me ready for basic training.
Mm-hmm.
And, the Navy history, things like that, Navy rules and regulations, and just getting me basically prepared for basic training.
Okay, I apologize for that because
I
had nothing like that when I joined the Army, so that's good actually.
Yeah.
All right, so where did you go to boot camp?
Great Lakes, Illinois.
And do you have any stories that stand out from boot camp, or what was that like?
Well, it was kind of, I mean, I got to meet a lot of different people, different walks of life. The first day was interesting because we took a bus from Cincinnati, and our Greyhound bus broke down up by Indianapolis. So we had to limp our bus into Indianapolis and get on a different bus. And I remember we stopped at a McDonald's on the way to feed us. I just remember like 80 guys going in this McDonald's at one time and watching these guys back there just flipping burgers like there's no tomorrow. That was pretty comical. So then we finally get to basic training, and we were actually like 3 hours late because of the breakdown, and we're getting there, and all the other people from all the other states had gotten there 3 hours before us, so they were waiting on us from Cincinnati. So we get there, and of course the people that's doing the induction are pretty mad, so we got our butts chewed immediately. There was a lot of yelling and screaming and being names called that I had never heard before. And I remember it was pouring down rain when we arrived. So by the time we got all of our paperwork done that night, and we had to take our first shower, our Navy shower. I'll never forget that either. We were marched one by one into this shower stall, big shower room. And there was like 100 shower heads, and it was introduction to the Navy. You walk, and they had all the showers running. You hit one shower head, you were wetted down. Get to the next shower head, you soaked up. Next shower head, and you kept on walking, you didn't stop. And you hit the third shower head, and you're rinsed off, and you just kept right on out. all these naked guys walking through this big shower room. We get out and they're screaming, hollering at us, calling us everything but a white man. Get your butts out of here! Get moving, 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 moving. So then we go to get dressed and get dried off, and it's time for bed. By this time, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. So we lay down, lay our heads down. As soon as you close your eyes, up comes the lights. Garbage cans banging and rolling down the aisles, screaming, get out of them racks, get out of them racks. So we're all like, what the heck is going on? We get down. As soon as we get out of our bunks, we're sitting there laying up, standing there. You will stand at attention. We were like standing there, and these two guys come down. We found out later we're going to be our company commanders, or in the Army they call them drill sergeants. Here they come. We're not your mamas. We're not your daddies. Your ass belongs to us. For the next 8 weeks, you will do as you're told on a timely manner. Well, before you go to basic training, your recruiter gives you a list of things to bring. And, toiletries and such. Everything we were told to bring, no. We were told to take everything we had and dump it in the middle of the aisleway in the barracks. They'd come by with a big push broom and pushed it all in one corner. Like, for example, we were told you can bring whatever kind of shampoo you like to use. Toothpaste, you want to bring Colgate or what have you. Nope. You will use Navy issue this, Navy issue that. The only kind of soap we was allowed to use was Zest. I'll never forget that. Zest soap. You're not allowed to use palm olive. You're not allowed to use Dial. Everything had to be Navy issue this and certain this, certain that. Tennis shoes you had on your feet. Not. They took all your clothing and your whatever. And they put it in a little ditty bag and they put it aside so until you got out of basic training, and then they would give it back to you. You had to wear their brand of tennis shoes, their brand of underwear. Everything was Navy issue this, Navy issue that. Oh, it was like, oh my God, we're all in our head. We're all cussing our recruiters. You told us we can bring this stuff, and then as soon as we get there, they throw it in the middle of the aisle and bring it into a corner.
All right. Now, did you go to an A school after basic?
Yes.
Where was that, and what was that like?
In Great Lakes.
And
it
what
was like a big college campus, like a small college campus.
Okay. And what was that for? What was your A school?
I was a machinery repairman. Mm-hmm. We had to go to. You learned what your job's going to be, and you learned naval history and all that stuff.
Okay. Now, when you first found out you were being assigned to New Jersey, was that your first orders after A school?
Yes.
All right. What was your reaction to that news?
Well, I didn't really know anything about it. Like I said, I was only 18 years old, and actually at that time I was only 17. I take that back. Mm-hmm. I didn't turn 18 until after basic training. Just a kid. I didn't know anything about any of the ships. I'm new to all this. I remember calling my dad and telling him, and first thing he said was, "Oh my God, you're going to be on the New Jersey. You got to be kidding me." I said, "No, why? Is that such a special ship?" He said, "Yeah, that's one of the most decorated battleships out there." Wow. So that was kind of cool.
Okay. Now, when you first saw the New Jersey, where did you embark, and what was your reaction just seeing her for the first time?
Oh, well, it was stationed in Long Beach, California, Long Beach Naval Station. When I flew out to Long Beach, first got to the ship, I looked at it, and I just remember thinking, holy crap, that's going to be my ship? Wow. I just remember looking at the guns and going, wow, how the size of them guns. just the whole ship itself was just overwhelming.
All right. So, with the exception of your daily job or general quarters or watch station, just tell us about everyday life on the ship. Any stories, interactions with your fellow crewmates, things like that. What was that like?
I just remember when I first boarded the ship. I just remember a lot of the what we call the old salts. They like to play jokes on you and like to tell you things that weren't true. And got you in a little mischief. not you know. Just things like that. I just remember that, you know, the guy that had been on here for a while, like I said, he told you things that weren't exactly true that you didn't know. I mean, you're going, oh, okay, you do that stuff, and then find out, no, you get in trouble for it. It was just harmless pranks. I mean, nothing. I guess they call it hazing.
Okay. Now, you were a machinist mate repair. So, in detail, describe what your duties included. Not talking about general quarters or your watch station. Just every day in the machine shop. What was some of your work?
Well, we were always constantly making parts for the machines, repairing the parts, rebuilding the motors if need be. We always had spare motors that we were always rebuilding and keeping, you know, just. And if one of the machines broke down, we had to go out and repair it to get it back online as fast as possible.
And was that a constant that you are consistently repairing the ship? Because by the time you got on board, it was at least 40 years old.
Right. That was pretty much. Some of the machinery was very old.
Now, if you had a piece, a part, or let's say a valve or a pump that was really old, and it was beyond repair, how did you get that done?
If it was beyond repair, well, there was hardly anything that was beyond repair.
Okay.
We would rebuild it.
All right. And how would you know exactly what did you have? What did you have to help you with the parts to make sure that they were back in specifications?
Well, we had guidelines, and you know, you knew there was. You always had a manual to look back on. If you didn't know it off the top of your head, that would tell you the specs and different things like that. Okay.
Now, you also told me you had another job when you first came on board.
Yeah. In the first 3 months, you have to. They call it orientation. You work at different places on the ship. Some people worked in the galley. Some people worked in, you know, you could work in classification, just being a gopher, things like that. That was just to get you acclimated to the ship. You know, so you know different departments of the ship and things like that. I was in the galley. I worked 3 p.m. to 6 a.m. 5 days a week in the galley. So that's what I had to do.
And you were helping the cooks? Right. Is that what you were doing?
All
right. So let's talk about your general quarters and watch stations. What were those?
Well, once a week we had to do what they call fire watch. And you'd have a certain station where you had to do fire watch. You did 4-hour shifts. So, and what you do is you just basically whatever area you're walking, you every half hour you would make your rounds and you would sign the logbook saying I checked this.
Okay. And what about general quarters? Where were your assignments?
Well, general quarters, what we would normally do is we would, do your cleanup, housekeeping, such things like that. Make sure your berthing quarters are clean and things like that.
All right. So let's talk. What about ports of call? Any stand out? And what were the different ones that you went to?
Well, the Philippines, we went to. I was on what they call the Westpac, Western Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
So we hit all the Western Pacific stations along the line, which would be in Philippines, Japan, Guam. I think can't remember anymore. Those were the three main ones we would stop at.
Do you have a favorite?
Philippines, I think, was my favorite.
All right. Now, were you on the cruise that was off the coast of South Korea during the '88 Olympics?
Actually, I wasn't on that cruise.
Okay. Were you on the cruise that went to Australia for their bicentennial?
Yes.
And what was that like? First, like from when you came until you left?
It was kind of neat because when we got off the ship, we were treated like royalty. All military personnel from the United States was treated like royalty. Treated very well, especially if you was in uniform. I mean, you would get, you'd go to a restaurant and they would give you free meals, things like that. It was kind of neat.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you give any tours? I know they said civilians were given tours of the ship. Did you give any tours to any?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
No, not me personally.
Mm-hmm. What was your interaction with the locals? Pretty good?
Yeah, they were very friendly. Like I said, we were treated like royalty.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the locals they were really treated us very well. Those civilians and Australian people were very, very nice, very polite, very cordial. Everywhere we went, they were just really, really nice.
Okay. Any stories or any anecdotes from that time in Australia that you remember you'd like to share?
No, I don't. I didn't really do a lot in Australia. I mean, we we just went around town and did a little tour on our off time. Just did a little sightseeing, but no major stories that I can recall.
All right. Any travels through the Panama Canal?
Not that I can remember.
All right. Did you ever cross the equator?
Yeah.
And did you receive your shellback?
Yes, sir. I got my hat. I lost it by now, but I got my shellback card.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about what it takes to become a shellback.
Don't want to know. It's not a pretty sight. Well,
that's a standard question, so we hear it a lot.
Oh, okay. So when you get your shellback card, you have to go through what they call an initiation, crossing the equator. And when I crossed it, now it's different. They do different things. But when I crossed it, they would take the passageway from the galley. There was the passageway down here. All the leftover food from the scullery, they would line the hallway with it, and you had to crawl through it on your belly. And if you made it through from point A to point B without puking, then you got your shellback card.
All right.
That was not pretty.
All right.
I mean, they put it on a tarp, so when they're done, they just folded the tarp up, and dumped it, but it was not pretty.
All right. Did you meet any of your commanding officers when you were on board?
Yeah, the captain would come down occasionally through the shop and chit-chat with us.
Just for the record, which captain was that?
It was Captain Tucker.
Okay. So what was he like?
Very nice gentleman. Very nice guy. I liked him. I liked him the most because he didn't present himself as I'm your captain. He treated you like you was his equal. He would sit down and shoot the breeze with you like you would anybody else. And that's what I liked about him the most.
Okay. Now, what can you remember about your time on the ship during the Persian Gulf expedition? Any stories from that?
Well, we weren't over there very long before we got sent back. I just remember being over there when Saddam Hussein was trying to do his little tactic where he was trying to, get us to fire on him, so to speak, or whatever you want to call it. And didn't work. And then, of course, then we got the orders, I guess, from Washington that said, told the Navy to retreat.
All right. How was the Iraqi Navy doing that? How were they trying to provoke you?
Well, they were sending their warships over and firing at us, you know. But I don't think they were trying to hit us. I think they were just trying to provoke us into starting something.
So New Jersey never took any.
I don't think so, no. As I recall.
All right. Any other stories or any memories of your time on the battleship that you'd like to talk about now? Anything? Any anecdotes that stick out?
When I first got on the ship, my first Westpac, I was, I guess it was my classification of hazing. A lot of the older guys got us young guys, and they were making homemade wine, which I understand is a thing that goes all the way back to World War II. All the BTs, the boiler techs, they would make homemade wine, and they would down in the boiler room. Then they would sip on it, Well, some new guys, rookies, got involved in it, and one of my shipmates, I'll never forget him, Calvin Quinn, God love him. He was one of them that got me. Told me, there were a couple of guys that would say, well, we know when the officer on deck's coming around, so it's all good, we got it covered. Well, I was drinking a little bit of it, and I'm in the head. And I hear an officer on deck. Uh-oh, he's here early. So, make a long story short, several of us new guys got busted, and when we ported, we didn't get off. We were not off the ship. We had to. We were on punishment, so we had to take shifts on the boatswain swing off the side of the ship, chipping and painting a number off the side of the ship. So that's what we did for 4 days.
All right. Any others? Anything else?
Oh yeah. Well, when a good friend of mine who I was in basic training with, actually got lucky enough we got stationed together. We became best friends in basic training, and luckily we both got stationed on the New Jersey. We were ported in Japan, and we were out on the town in Japan and having a few adult refreshments, and we had to report back to the ship for the night before midnight. And my old shipmate, he had a little too many, and we climbed up to the quarterdeck, and we had to go through the ritual, saluting all the flags and saluting the officer on deck, and you had to recite, "Permission to enter your quarterdeck, sir." Well, my little buddy, he decided he was going to act silly, and when he saluted the officer on deck, he says, "Permission to enter your patio, daddy-o." Well, to make a long story short, the officer on deck didn't find it nearly as funny. And a few choice words told me to get his, back to his rack as quickly as possible.
All right. Did you serve anywhere after the New Jersey, as far as your naval career?
No.
So your whole Navy experience was on the New Jersey.
Yes, sir.
All right. When did you actually get out of the Navy?
July of 1990.
All right. Now, let's talk about a little bit about your post life after the Navy, your career, your family. Just give us like an overview of what you did after the Navy, kids, grandkids, all that.
Okay, when I got out of the Navy, I took some time off and got reacquainted with my friends and family and stuff, and then I found a job at Cincinnati Millicron. And I worked there from 1990 to 95. I'm still young, so I didn't get married yet. Then I went to a different company and was there for 15 years. And then between that time, I had got married to my first wife. Had settled down, got the house and dogs and all that stuff. And she passed away in 2009. So I didn't have any children with her. And in 2014, I met my current wife. She's got a son, my stepson, and we're getting ready to have a grandchild coming up. So that's my family.
All right. Now, is this the first time you've been back to New Jersey since you disembarked?
Yes, sir.
And what was your first reaction when you saw her again, and the circumstances that got you here?
Oh, it was really cool, really neat. Nothing's changed. It's just like I remember it.
Mm-hmm.
Everything, when I saw it, I'm like, oh wow. Just the memories started flooding back. Everything started coming back.
Right. If you want to describe what you were feeling when we took you to the machine shop, you saw your rack, just things like that.
Just really, really overwhelming. Just brought back all the old days, the memories and things that I did off my, for entertainment with my shipmates and, just things such as that, it just really, it was like going back in time.
Mm-hmm. Now, how did the Navy impact your life even today? What was some of the lasting memories and other aspects of the Navy that still are with you today?
It made a better person out of me. It made me a better man. It made me it taught me discipline, life's discipline. It just really, really taught me how to live life on the right path.
All right. Just one other question before we start winding down. What exactly brought you back to the ship today?
My wife surprised me on our anniversary with a trip here.
So you had no idea that this was the destination?
No clue.
Okay.
This is how little traveled I am. She let it slip out the other day that we was going to Philadelphia. I had no idea New Jersey was this close to Philadelphia. So, when she told me we're going to Philadelphia, I had no clue we were this close to my ship, because, the whole time we're driving here, I'm thinking, what are we going to Philadelphia for? That's what she wants to do, that's fine, but what's in Philadelphia that I want to do, So then I find out that my Navy ship was just across the bridge, and I'm, oh wow, this is pretty cool.
All right. Any last statements, more like a legacy statement that you would like to make for future generations of historians and teachers who might see this down the road?
It was an honor to serve on this historic battleship. So I can tell you, it was an extreme honor to say that I served on this ship.
All right. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Well, thank you for your service and taking the time to join us. This concludes our interview. Again, this is Angelo Pizzullo, manager of the Oral History Program on board the Battleship New Jersey in Camden, New Jersey. Today is Friday, August 3rd, 2018. Our guest was Thomas Teeken from Harrison, Ohio. This recording and any transcripts, abstracts, or indexes made from the recordings will be stored in the Oral History Department of the Battleship New Jersey, the Library of Congress Veterans History Project, and the New Jersey State Library System. All recordings will be made available to writers, researchers, teachers, and historians. This is Angelo Pizzullo signing off.